everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy January. Welcome to Signpost Destinations. It's so nice to have you guys here. This is fun. This is our second live now for 2022. Guys, I'm having some camera issues, and I'm sorry. We're going to fix this right now. I've got some cool surprises and treats for you. If you've been following along the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the top 10 destinations for 2023. And today is the day we are going to reveal the number one destination. But before we do that, I am going to bring in our very first co-anchor. I kind of talked about this last week. All of 2023, we're going to have various members of the Signpost Destinations team joining us. And you will find out in a short few minutes why we're bringing Hunter on. But let's go ahead and bring in Hunter. Everybody help me welcome Hunter to the show. Hi, Hunter.
Hi.
I'm so excited you're here today.
I'm super excited as well. This is going to be a lot of fun. And I've been keeping my lips sealed, trying to keep this number one destination under wraps. So I'm excited to finally talk about it.
It's been rather challenging myself too, because we've chatted about this. And I was going over my notes and getting stuff together today. And I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh no, I can't say that. I gotta just wait, just chill. We're going to do it in the right order. And it's going to be exciting and awesome. So Hunter, you were one of the first people that I hired that we brought on to the team last year. So for a few reasons. One reason that I have not really been shy about is because I don't know everything. I don't know every destination. And you definitely brought a whole new world and different destinations far beyond my understanding. So that was a big thing for everybody that has not yet met Hunter. Hunter is our adventure destination specialist. Hint, hint, that's going to give us a little bit of an inside little tidbit about our number one destination, but we'll get there in a minute. The other reason I was thinking about this morning, Hunter, here in Michigan, we're getting a blizzard, lots of snow. And you and I have very different opinions about snow.
This is true. Yeah, I've got a solid foot-ish of snow in my yard, which is making me sad. We got hit really, really hard with that big winter storm that kind of swept the country. And we haven't really seen much snowfall since then. It's been a little dusting here. And so living up in Montana in the mountains where we're a big ski town, we're a big ski destination, we live and die by our winter outdoor recreation. So we're in desperate need for snow. Right now is not a great time for a ski trip.
Yeah, it's true. Even actually in northern Michigan, they just keep getting hammered with snow. So much snow north of here, but we haven't had snow on the ground since Christmas, which is crazy. But anyways, I digress. So Hunter, for everybody that you are a new face for, I did mention that you are our adventure specialist, but let's talk a little bit without revealing the number one destination, kind of what you specialize in and what you can help with.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm curious if you have any suggestions or any ideas of what the number one destination is. I would feel free to drop those comments. We love
please drop them in the comments.
If you can figure it out. So as I kind of mentioned, I live in Montana and I'm up here in the mountains. So I have lived the majority of my life outdoor recreation, hiking. I'm very lucky to live about an hour away from Glacier National Park. So that has been, a big spur in not just my personal life, but in my professional life, as well as we see here with my adventure special kind of destinations that I work in. I've been very lucky with travel up here to Montana this season, and I've been planning a lot of trips, which has been great. But I kind of started this journey with Signpost Destinations wanting to make the active lifestyle of traveling a really, really important part of the vacation, because that's how I like to travel. I am not a person that's going to get an all-inclusive beach resort and just sit there and drink cocktails for a week. I need to get out and do something. I want to be active, whether or not that's like going for a 10-mile hike or being really physically demanding, or just going for like a canoe ride or going paddleboarding or kayaking, just getting out and doing something. What the locals do to blow off some steam after a day of work is what I want to go do, because that's how we live our life, right? We go have our 9-to-5 day jobs, and then we need something to go do in our local community that's fun and enjoyable. So that's the kind of energy that I wanted to really capture in the travel that I was selling and the clients that I was working with. And I do think that this number one destination absolutely checks that box in every way. I think that the general lifestyle that you find in this country, in this part of the world, is kind of that relaxed luxury kind of style where they have all these wonderful, amazing activities that they get to go do, but it's nothing overly extreme. It's nothing incredibly difficult. You're not hiking through the Himalayas. You know, you can still go for a good hike, but you're not going to be needing any technical skills in order to do all these fun things that not only the destinations are available here, but available in our number one destination. So
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm so excited to talk more about it. I'm
Yeah.
biting my tongue.
You and I have had a lot of conversations, and actually, though Montana is not specifically on our top 10 list, which we're going to reveal numbers 10 through 2 here in a second, you and I, it's very much an in-demand destination and is like a cousin of one of the number one destinations. So we'll talk about that in a little bit too. But like you said, like you're not the kind to go sit on a beach. And like when I look out my window and see all that snow, all I can think about is how I'm going to be in Key West in 2 weeks. That's not your style, but that's fine because our clients across the board, no matter who it is on our team, like the goal is to help more people go to more places in different ways. So even though you have a different like type of destination than I do, or other people on the team do, we still help them in the same way. And it's still that unique and authentic experience. So it's amazing. And I love having you on the team. It's so great. And you always make our team calls interesting.
and we do really have a great team of
so
not just advisors that are passionate and care about the job that they're doing, which is so important, but also a wide variety of just personal diversity and interest in where they want to travel and what they consider a great vacation. I think it's way stronger for us as a team that you don't want to take a winter vacation up into the mountains for a week, but I don't want to go to Florida for a week. We're playing to each other's strengths.
Right, absolutely. Though I think everybody on our team wants to go to our number one destination. I think so. Everybody, I think they're all like, yeah, I can see that. That'd be super cool. Oh, we have a comment. Let's see what's up. Oh, it's Kate. Kate says hi. Kate's one of our other team members. We'll see her in March for sure when we come up. So, all right. Shall we review then numbers 10 through 2? You ready? I got to make sure I don't accidentally click the number 1. Here we go, guys. 2023 top destinations, numbers 10 through 2, as told by Signpost Destinations. Here we go. It's so fun.
It's a great list. It's a great place to start from.
It's so good. It took me a minute to put this list together because again, it was based off of trends, right? And just different information that I've collected and gathered. You know, Hunter, how many emails do we get? How many webinars are we on? How many conferences where we're talking about these things? So putting together this list, I wanted to help our followers understand, right? Like this is what's trending. Like these are the places that this is where people are going to want to go. Like this is what's up right now. So we're going to talk a little bit about what those top 3 trends are, but do you have any thoughts on the list of 10 through 2? Do you have any comments? Were there any that surprised you?
I think I would say Barbados is probably the one that jumped out to me the most. That surprised me the most. I think that
Really?
was the one that caught my eye. I think because it was what I was least expecting. Because I think because that part of the world is just so outside of my wheelhouse that I wasn't really expecting to see much of a Caribbean destination at
Hmm.
all in the first place. Just looking at, like you said, the trends of how things are changing.
Hmm.
And that for, I think, a lot of people in the travel industry, especially a lot of people who like to cruise in the travel industry, which is massive for our industry, for travel
Yeah.
agencies, like the Caribbean is old news, been there, done that,
Hmm.
for a lot of people, which is not true. If you've never been to the
Yeah.
Caribbean, it's absolutely worth visiting. But I think for people here in the US, it is kind of like your number one international trip. If you
Yeah.
haven't been to Canada, if you haven't been to Mexico, you've been to the Caribbean. And that's
Right.
probably your first time traveling international.
Yeah.
And so we saw Canada on that list,
Yeah.
and there's definitely a trend up there. But I think, yeah, the fact that Barbados, that the Caribbean, it goes to show that even though it's a very long time, well-established travel destination for the
Mhm.
US, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
It's going to stay on that list for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I wanted to make sure that the Caribbean was represented because of all those reasons that you just mentioned, but also again those trends, right? The things that we're seeing. So, yes, cruising is a huge, massive industry, especially after the 2 years of torment that they went through with the, not being able to cruise and things like that. So, cruises are back, better than ever, stronger than ever. I think everybody on our team is doing cruises right now. Like it's huge. People
It
love
is.
it. It's a great way to see multiple destinations, right? Like they can go and experience. But the reason for Barbados is because it represents again these trends where it's not just stopping on a cruise ship, but being able to go and immerse yourself in that destination and in that culture rather than just stopping for a few hours on a cruise. You're going and spending a week and being able to like really deep dive in and experience the food and the people and things like that. So that's why Barbados was on there. That's interesting. I realized I have not asked you that question until now. So
I know. Yeah, I was on the spot. That was not part of the pre-meeting
it
screen.
was not. It wasn't. Barbados and Turks and Caicos is another like honorable mention. I've already had quite a few requests for Turks and Caicos too, which is a very elite sort of a destination. It's definitely a luxury destination. Barbados is a little bit more for non-luxury people, I guess,
Mhm.
like a little bit, a little bit, I don't know, more middle class, which is not a bad thing. It's still wonderful. They're amazing.
Absolutely.
Um, the other thing I wanted to note too is that our this list today has changed a little bit from what we've been talking about the last 2 weeks because we've been doing a post every day. Number 3 was Peru. So I did change that from Peru to Central America because the last couple weeks there's been a lot of information. Oh, Andy's watching and Mallory's on. Hi guys. I love it when our
Hi.
friends join us. Um, there's been a lot of civil unrest in Peru right now. So that's another reason for using a travel advisor is that we're up on those things. As much as we would love to go to Peru and would love to send people right there right now, if it's not safe, we're not going to recommend it. So hopefully one day that it will calm down and it'll be fine. But for right now, for the safety of all of our clients, we just remove that one because since I created that, those issues are going in. So Central America is still kind of encapsulates a lot of that feel and the reason that it's on our list. So yeah, cool, good. All right, so let's talk about what the trends are for 2023. So the biggest one, well, the most obvious one, I think this is still going to be a huge thing because we're still post-pandemic, right? Like they
Mhm.
wasn't, unfortunately, it's not that far behind us at this point. Like, it still kind of feels like it was a bad dream sort of a thing. But the pandemic changed travel forever. And one of the ways that it's changed is that it's causing people to not wait until tomorrow. They're like, I'm going to go and I'm going to take that
Mhm.
bucket list travel now. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go because I've always wanted to do it and there's no reason to wait any longer. So that's the first thing is those bucket list destinations. So, And then the second reason, Hunter, is why you're here. What's the second trend for 2023?
It's adventure travel. It is
Travel.
so popular. It is one of the fastest growing markets in the travel industry, and in an almost hard to wrap your head around exponential growth. I mean, adventure travel pre-COVID was existent. It was there, but it did not exist in the capacity that it does now. As we all saw, especially here in the US, and which is part of my kind of unique position within adventure travel, is the national parks as a one of the only ways that the American public could get out and recreate and spend time outside of their quarantine bubbles. And so national parks across the board saw a massive uptick, which has had some, some growing pains and has had some strengths and some weaknesses. As we've seen, a lot of national parks have required reservations in order for entry. My home park, Glacier National Park, we saw a reservation system put into place for the 2020 season, and this is now their third season with the reservation, and they have continued to require more reservations each year that has gone by. So the first year you needed reservations for one part of the park. The next year you needed reservations for two parts of the park. Glacier has 5 major entrances, and now you need reservations for all 5 of those major entrances. So it's changed the game a lot, and that's not just particular to Glacier. You've seen that for tons of other outdoor recreation in general. You have to get reservations, you have to get permits, and so planning an adventure travel trip with an advisor is almost becoming more of a necessity than it was years ago, where you can't just show up to Glacier and go for a hike. You can't just show up to Zion and go hike Angel's Landing. You have to go get a permit, and then you have to get passes. There's a lot of moving parts to adventure travel. I mean, and not just in the fact that you're going to go kayaking one day and then you're going to go biking the next day. And that takes some brain power to process and to kind of figure out how you're going to move those itineraries together. But it is not inclusive where it's like, great, I can just show up and I get to pick my activities. It is definitely a much more
complex
industry to work in now.
For sure. The other thing that like, as we talk about just why we do what we do, that is true across the board for destinations, is like, it's just so different. People don't realize, like you're saying, those reservations and permits, and there's so many little things that didn't used to be that are there now. That's a huge, huge thing. Absolutely. I don't remember what my next thought was right out of my head. I don't know. Oh, I know what it was. We also, like, adventure travel doesn't necessarily have to be, let's pack a bag and go hike the Andes for a month. Like, it doesn't need to be super hardcore. It can be. Absolutely. But there's also plenty of people doing adventure travel that are just like, let's figure out what that would look like for me. What does that look like for this specific destination? And that's something that you do really well as an advisor, is figure out, like, what are those needs of your specific traveler? And then how do I still get them those good adventure type experiences on this trip? Even if they're not avid hikers or, ready to just, sleep on the ground one night. Like, it doesn't need to be all that, they can still have adventure in their own way. Like, it's still just the idea of going out. The other thing you and I talked about with adventure travel that kind of like point 2.2 about our top 3 reasons, in addition to adventure travel, it's about getting off the beaten path, right? Like some of those like more unique and like not top of mind sort of destinations, which again is number 1, is one of those places.
Absolutely.
And a lot of places, top 10 are like, that's a little bit different. Like, I guess I never really thought about going there. Like, so those are the things that we kind of want to like bring, to the forefront, or those kind of different places to go and explore. So, and then number 3, which this plays into your niche with adventure, but our whole team is seeing a huge increase in people requesting the third reason, which is immersive travel. We just brought Liz on. Liz is she's another adventure specialist. She's doing more ecotourism and things like that. But even still, everybody is getting these requests for it. If I'm going to go here, Barbados, right? Those different places, I want to go and actually be there. I don't want to be a traveler. I don't want to just be a visitor. I want to go and be able to like truly experience this destination. So that was probably the single biggest driving factor in our top 10 and with the trends for 2023, I would say. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nobody wants to go on vacation and just be a blatantly obvious tourist,
Right.
you don't, yeah, exactly. Everybody, that is not the experience that we like as people who travel professionally.
Right.
That's why we got into this job and we got into this industry, right? Is that we wanted to help people make better vacations,
Right.
not just to send you to a basic Hilton on the beach because it's cheap.
And to say you did, or right.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all about the experience and
Right.
kind of how you do it, not where you
Right.
go, but how you do your vacation is so
Absolutely.
important.
Yeah, absolutely. Ah, amazing. Well, I think the time has come. Are we ready?
I think so.
Number one destination. All right, guys, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yay.
I'm so excited.
I am too.
I'm so glad the cat's finally out of the bag.
Me too. Yeah, now we can have a conversation and not like worry about it slipping. Now it's out there. Everybody knows. So it's so good. And you guys, I've probably been bugging you guys for like 6 months talking about Croatia.
Mhm.
It was like a little blip on my radar way back like last summer, as it started to grow in popularity. And I've done all of my own training and things like that, and just I've learned so much about it. And I know now you've been specializing in Croatia too. It's such a great destination. I'm so excited to chat about it a little bit more with you today. It's going to be
absolutely. Yeah, I have had so much fun just looking at pictures of Croatia. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. You got everything that people are attracted to Europe for. It has. It's coastal. It's on the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
It's got stunning greenery. It's got gorgeous mountains. It's got amazing food, and it's got amazing history and architecture. It is it's a melting pot of Europe. It really, really is.
Yeah, super, super awesome. Yeah, that was the thing. Like people now that we're post pandemic, people are getting more comfortable traveling further, right? Going more places and bucket list destinations. So you can combine that with being able to be truly deeply immersed in a culture because it's still very old school. It's not like super touristy yet. Like everybody loves Rome, everybody loves Paris, everybody loves London, right? But those have become very touristy destinations. There's a lot, that isn't it's just a little bit watered down, I guess, where Croatia is very like this, it's still what it was 200 years ago, just this really cool, unique place. So yeah, it just checks all of those boxes. And it's just not the typical European destination, but still gives you so much of that like traditional old world European feel. That's just unbelievable. It's such a great destination. So we'll be sharing some more pictures and stuff too. So Hunter, as our adventure destination specialist. Well, first let me say this. Yes, you are our adventure specialist. Croatia really is for everyone. In my opinion, like if you're a cruiser, if you are a luxury traveler, if you travel with young kids, if you like beaches, if you're a foodie, no matter what type of traveler you are, Croatia will check almost every single one of your boxes, I promise. But today, let's talk with you about why it's a great adventure destination.
So, absolutely. So I do have 2 really, really exciting kind of offers, 2 different kind of experiences out in Croatia to touch on, and we'll cross that bridge later. But why Croatia is such an exciting adventure destination, I kind of alluded to it earlier, where you can do so many of the kind of traditional adventure activities that come to mind when we think about adventure travel. Like I said, rafting, hiking, zip lining, those kind of things you can definitely do there. But as you said, adventure travel is not exclusive to those kind of experiences. You don't have to go class 4, class 3 whitewater rafting and hike up the side of a mountain and gain 2,000 feet in order to, to have an adventure experience. Things like wine tasting, that can be considered an adventure experience, because if you go to a place that has tons of vineyards and you're walking from place to place, you're probably going to work up a little bit of a sweat, and like, it can be, wine tasting can be a very physically demanding activity. I've been before, and you get very winded very quickly. And Croatia, speaking of wine, is actually a very, very up and coming wine destination.
Absolutely.
So if you do enjoy those kind of slower paced activities, walking around Old Town Dubrovnik and then going for a wine tasting experience, 100% that's adventure travel. And it's more so on that kind of immersive travel where it can, you kind of blur the lines. I think that's where we're seeing a lot of this trend go, is that the immersive side of adventure travel is starting to become way more prominent in what adventure travel means. So it used to be 10, 15 years ago, adventure travel was, you're going to go hike the Himalayas, or you're going to go do this, multi-country cross Europe biking trip. And that was really excluding a massive population of people, because I love adventure. I'm not going to go bike halfway through Europe. That's not what I want to go do. I want to go for a great hike. I want to go do some rafting, but I also want to be able to stop and enjoy the environment that I'm in. Like I said, it's that kind of local mindset of the people that live there go and do these activities, right? That's why they're available, because there's local rafting guides, there's local cycling guides, but that's not what they're doing every single day. They're also going to wineries. They're also just hanging out in town, enjoying the just atmosphere of the environment. So I think that's such a clear reason as to why Croatia is on this list and why it's our number one.
We should also mention why, or I guess rather where and how Croatia kind of came back on the radar. So you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier.
Yes.
This is huge. And maybe it's not necessarily for the right reasons, but Croatia has been a very, very popular destination for cinema, for TV shows, and for movies. The number one place and probably the biggest show of all time was filmed there. I don't think any show even comes close, right, to as many people that have seen it. Game of Thrones. Absolutely. Game of Thrones, there were 3 major cities in Croatia that Game of Thrones filmed in. And if you've seen any episodes of, everybody watching this has seen at least one episode of Game of Thrones, I would imagine. So I would say 80% of that took place, especially like King's Landing and some of those places were in Croatia, those beautiful destinations. So that caused people to start like Googling and research, where are they filming this? And there's several other things. One of the James Bond movies was there. Mamma Mia was there, the last Mamma Mia movie. Several different shows were filmed there. And it's just caused people to be like, oh my gosh, where is that? That's Croatia. That's what that is. So that's kind of what brought it back kind of to the forefront, are people wanting to go and experience that. So anyways.
It did. Yeah, it totally put it on the map. And I think this year is a great year for it to be number one, because if travel trends just continue to increase, it's just how it is across the board. The more popular a place gets, the more saturated the market becomes, the more touristy it becomes. And I think that putting Croatia on our number one list this year, we're ahead of the curve. We're ahead of the 8 ball. So if you're going to go to Croatia in 2023, you're going to have all of those great benefits that you want to have from a popular tourist destination, but you're not going to be saturated with people. You're not going to be getting off a plane in Rome and then thrown onto a 32-person bus and just torn around. Like, you can still have that small experience, and you can book it with a tour group that's more structured, or if you just want to go and be there by yourself and just kind of enjoy the time because you're comfortable traveling alone, you can easily do that as well. It is such a flexible destination right now. It's pretty impressive.
And transportation is pretty easy too. Like, it's pretty easy to get around Croatia if you're adventurous enough to want to rent a car and drive around. That shouldn't be too terribly challenging, especially, like I said, if you're up for that, if you've driven in Europe before. But trains and boats, like, there's so many different ways to get around, which, well, I know you've got some examples of it coming up, but that's just a really easy, like, that's another nice draw for Croatia. Sometimes with like Greece, Like there's so many different islands. It's so hard. Like
Mhm.
there's really just the boat is the only way you can really get around Greece, right? Like there's some places that are not easy to get around.
Mhm.
Croatia is. It's very
Absolutely.
easy. What would you say? How far in advance do you think is ideal for going to Croatia? And what about peak season? When do you think people should go?
I mean, the summers are definitely popular, are busy. It's the Mediterranean.
Yeah,
And that's never going to change. You know,
right.
it's a summer destination, and for
Mhm.
good reason. I mean, who doesn't want to spend some of their summer on these gorgeous, gorgeous beaches looking at, you know,
Right.
especially with the location of where Croatia is. And if you're, since we kind of talked about, you mentioned cruising, if that's
Mhm.
one of the options that you want to do, Croatia is accessible by sea. It's right there on the Mediterranean, and
Right.
it's within a location on the eastern side of the Mediterranean that cruising up to Croatia is going to force you to go past some of these massive bucket list destinations that you've probably been
Mhm.
interested anyways. You know,
Right.
Italy is just on the other side of the Adriatic from
Yep.
Croatia. You've got Greece just south of Croatia.
Right.
And so if you're going to be going into that area, you know, you're most
Why
likely going to
not?
be swinging by one of those two countries. And if you've been to Europe before, then
Yep.
awesome. Who doesn't want to go back to Italy? Who doesn't want to go back to Greece? And if
Right.
you've never been before, then awesome. You get
Perfect.
to include these two really big bucket destinations that
Mhm.
bucket list destinations that are probably already on your list. They're definitely
Right.
on my list. They have been forever. And then you get to visit somewhere new. So
Right.
it's such a fun spot.
Yeah, summer for sure. Europe in general, especially in the Med, is super, super busy in
Mhm.
the summer, and you're gonna get so prices will be a little bit higher for summer, but again, like that's when people have a lot of time, and it's just really nice to visit. For our, I would say too, just because I'm just kind of a unique traveler, I like to go more so shoulder season, like April, May, or like October, November, where it's not necessarily winter there. Their winter
Mhm.
is not like either of our winters here in Michigan and Montana. There's still plenty to do in the winter, and you can get
Yeah.
some great deals and things like that to go to Croatia in the winter. But I would say if you want a slightly fewer crowds, right, a little bit more unique, shoulder season is also great. But you're right. If you're
Mhm.
going for the first time and you're going to do a cruise or something summer, I mean, it's gonna be amazing no matter
Exactly.
when you go for
Well, and
sure.
what's
So
really great about adventure travel is that it's a type of travel in the industry that really plays to the strengths of the shoulder seasons,
right.
where you know you can go biking in the summer. Sure,
Mhm.
you can also go biking in the spring. It's such an unpopular spring activity,
Right.
especially in these parts here,
Right.
that those shoulder seasons, the changing of the seasons, is a really 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 fun time to be out there and being adventurous. And this is not just Croatia. This is, I mean, global at this
Across.
point,
Yeah. Yeah.
where you know here, speaking to just the kind of local experience in terms of the changing of the seasons, especially in the springtime where you have mountains and you've got the snow. The snowpack is here through April, and you
Here
know
too.
we I know it's a long time. And you can go, I know so many people that will wake up, they'll go skiing in the morning and then they'll go bike riding in the afternoon,
That's
because
awesome.
you can do both of those. And
Right.
not that you necessarily have massive ski resorts right there on the gorgeous coast there. But you can do those kind of things where you can go and have one activity in the morning, one activity in the afternoon, and make it a completely different
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Croatia is super diverse topographically. There are
Mhm.
mountains for skiing, there are beaches for swimming. You can do all of it. You can have all of those different things in one trip, which is just like fantastic. I love it so much. Um, and we're going to be sharing on our main page so much information. You and I are really just like barely just scratching the surface on Croatia, but the
Mhm.
next 2 weeks on our page, the main page for sure, we're going to be talking all about Croatia. If you guys have any more questions about, or you want to know anything specific, reach out to either of us. But just so you guys know, there's so many other like cool little unique things. But Hunter, let's talk about those kind of sample trips that you've come up with. Do you want me to share? Want me to share your slides first?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. We
Alrighty.
have the same picture.
I know it's
Plugs
the
right
same photo. It
there.
just has a logo on it now. Alrighty. So I just wanted to start. Here's some basic photos of Croatia. I
Ooh,
mean, it
sorry.
is absolutely gorgeous, and that's Dubrovnik. That's there on the bottom right hand corner. And so
Gorgeous.
that's where a lot of those iconic Game of Thrones scenes were filmed. And I'm sure if you're watching Dubrovnik, this is probably not the first time you've heard of Dubrovnik. Not only just Croatia, but the city in particular massively, massively popular and just keeps seeing up and up on those trends. But between or with Croatia, I landed on two different different companies, two different offers that I wanted to just touch on briefly. And the first one is with Backroads. So Backroads is the largest adventure travel company in the world. They are on every single continent, and they do a really, really, really good job at what they do, and for a good reason. And so biking is very much so a core staple of the Backroads experience, but it's not exclusively the staple of Backroads. So while you can definitely do these wonderful, wonderful biking trips here through the coastal regions, and then you can, like I mentioned, you can go wine tasting up through the vineyards as well. Something that Backroads offers are their multi-adventure types of trips, as well as their dolce tempo trips, which is more of an easy kind of lower paced style. So if you don't really want to do any biking, you just want to maybe do some walking around the vineyards and then do a museum tour, but you just still want to have that really hands-on, really immersive experience that Backroads is known for, you can do that. So you're not going to be limited to being on a bike, because I know that's, for some people, that's just awful. They just don't want to be on a bike full time. But it is also it's a market, it's an industry that's growing rapidly. I mean, bike travel is a staple in Europe. And so if you are going to go on a European vacation and you really want to be immersive, you travel by bike. That's how a lot of people get around on a day-to-day basis. And there is a handful of little towns and little islands that are vehicle free, where, you have to walk or you have to bike. That's the only way to do it. So Backroads is a really, really exciting offer. And I'll be excited to jump into more of what they have. But I also wanted to talk about Celebrity Cruises. So Celebrity is a new cruise line that I've introduced myself to. And I am slowly falling very madly in love.
It's one of my favorites. And company-wide, we love Celebrity. Yeah.
Absolutely. It is just a step above the rest, but it's not a leap above the rest. So I think it offers...
You're not going to be uncomfortable, right? Like, it's not too really, yeah.
No. And I think it's, when you think about cruises, I think it's really easy to lock yourself into kind of the Royal Caribbean carnival mindset, where there's a water park and there's children and it's a family event, which it definitely can be. And if you're traveling with family and you've got small kids and you want to have something that's going to keep them engaged because you don't think a cycling trip is going to be that option for them, a cruise is a wonderful way to do it. But if you're a younger couple, or you want to go for a special anniversary kind of trip, you don't really want to have that intense family energy, Celebrity is a really, really great way to kind of capture that more intimate, private, special occasion travel. I think that's what they do really, really, really well. I have some clients that are looking to book a honeymoon trip this summer, and I'm looking at Celebrity for their cruise line, just because that's the product that they want. That's the experience that they want. And Celebrity offers just some amazing stops and some amazing views along the way. And this is, again, Dubrovnik here. So you can just imagine hopping around the Mediterranean, getting off the boat and being able to explore these towns for a day and really get to know them. And the great thing about cruising is that, you get to spend a pretty substantial amount of time at port with each one of these destinations. And you get to do these really fun activities while you're there at those ports as well. So again, this is Dubrovnik, and you can go kayaking, you can go canoeing there in those gorgeous, gorgeous waters. One of the things that makes Croatia such an attractive coastal destination is that they don't have the really sandy beaches that you find in other parts of the world and in the Caribbean as well. So you've got this really rocky, really stony base where you're not going to get a lot of silt, you're not going to get a lot of sand. So the water is just crystal clear. So really, really, really cool, really, really exciting spot to visit. And I think that's my last slide. Yeah, so that's my last slide there. If we want to pop over to my other tab, I can kind of start to show more of the specifics on these trips. So this is that back road trip that I wanted to mention first. So I landed on the multi-adventure tour for families and older teens and 20s. I was thinking within this kind of adventure travel demographic, it really does attract this kind of family, because I think it is almost a blank spot on the map for people when they're planning their trips, where you've got older teens, you've got kids that don't need the kids program anymore, but they can't quite do the activities that the adults can do. And so bike ride is a perfect way to kind of check that box. And again, Backroads does so much more than just bike riding. So this one here, you know, you're looking at kids for 17 plus, siblings of 14 plus are okay, which is going to cater pretty well to your multi-generational families. And so that's another big trend that I think we can both agree we've seen is multi-generational family travel. I think 10, 15 years ago, you were seeing a lot of couples traveling, a lot of just intimate kind of travel. But frankly, you know, the economy has kind of hit a lot harder for people, and travel is one of the first things, if not the first thing, that you're going to take out of your budget for the year if you can't make ends meet. And so traveling together as a family, traveling together in this large group is becoming way more popular. It's something my family did for the first time this past October. We took a big family vacation and it was a lot of fun. It was something that I really enjoyed. So here is a little highlight of this trip here. So it is Croatia into Montenegro. It does spend most of your time there riding through Croatia, and you can just see you're bouncing back and forth between these tiny little islands and the coast. And you get to have a great combination of biking, walking, and a little bit of kayaking. So this is more of a bike heavy trip, but like I mentioned, they've got that dolce tempo as well, where you can really effectively eliminate the biking and just keep it the walking and the hiking and the kayaking options there. And so this 6-day itinerary has just some wonderful, wonderful stops to come through. I don't want to get too distracted with the finer details of it, but it includes a stop at some of the more historic hotels. One of the first hotels that was opened in this little town in Croatia. You get to bike your way across the border into Montenegro, which after reading some reviews is kind of this big watershed moment that a lot of people look forward to, because Montenegro is a stunning country. We could have a whole presentation on Montenegro.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then you get a kayak down there, the kind of tail end. It's a great way. Imagine just like riding your way all the way through Croatia. You finally get to Montenegro, and your last day activity, you're just spending a couple hours floating around in the Adriatic Sea. I mean, that's just cool. It's perfect. It's such a great trip. So that is that Backroads option. So really, really exciting. And as a certified Backroads specialist, I've done a lot of training with them, and I know their product pretty well. And they also operate here in my backyard. I see Backroad trips cycling past my house all the time. So I get a wave with their guides as they come by, and they're great people. They're very, very well known for the attention and the care they put into their guides and the experience they curate for their families. And you can do either, small group travel where you can tack on with some other people. You can make this a fully private experience as well. So it is really, really customizable. Backroads offers a slew of activities. Again, Backroads doesn't have to just be biking. But talking about celebrity, I wanted to touch on this one as well. And while I love Backroads so much, I think that I might be a little bit more excited about this celebrity offer, maybe just a touch.
I never thought I would hear it from you, Hunter.
About celebrity, I really am. Yeah. I think I saw a commercial. I think the Hulu was targeting me very well. I saw a commercial for celebrity, and it caught my eye. And I'm not a big person to be into cruises, and so the fact that they were able to use their marketing to catch my eye, I was very impressed.
You all people.
This is a 10-night Italy, Greece, and Croatia itinerary. Like I kind of touched on earlier, the location of Croatia is very, very convenient when you're looking at the Eastern Mediterranean. So just look at the sailing route. I mean, phenomenal destinations. You get to see a lot of the highlights of Europe that people are talking about. I mean, you get to go to Naples, you get to go to Rome. And just imagine if you were being able to, let's say you're spending 2 weeks on vacation, because a lot of people really want to do that when they go to these big bucket list destinations. They're looking at 1 to 2 week travel. I think longer trips are becoming a little bit more common than what we've seen in the past. Usually it was, a quick romantic getaway to the Caribbean for a weekend and then back to work on Monday. And now we're seeing this family taking a trip together for 2 weeks because this is the one trip they're taking for the year. And so if you have the time to extend more than a 10-night trip, imagine flying into Rome, being able to have that bucket list experience of going to the Colosseum and trying this amazing Italian food, and then cruising all the way through the Mediterranean, and then coming back and then spending more time in Italy, and you can go up to Venice, and you can really, really enjoy your time there. And so these ports of call, though, are really, really hard to beat. You get to start off in Rome, And then you go to Olympia, to Greece, where the Olympics started. I mean, that alone is a really, really interesting, really exciting offer to get to. And Corfu, I mean, look at this photo. Isn't that just this? And this isn't even Montenegro. This isn't even like the destination we're talking about. And you get to come to somewhere like this. And then you get to go to Dubrovnik, Montenegro, more Croatia as well. I mean, this is just a really, really great comprehensive itinerary that I think is incredibly attractive for the first-time traveler to Europe. You get to see those destinations. And I think it's an incredibly attractive offer for people that have been to Europe before and want to see something a little bit different, and want to go to a couple of destinations they probably haven't been to, and cruise with a cruise line that they may not have heard of. A Celebrity, like I said, is kind of a step above the rest. So when most people are looking at first-time cruising, I don't think it's on their list. If you were just going to go Google Mediterranean cruises, or you're going to go Google Caribbean cruises, you know, Celebrity is going to be on that list, absolutely. But they'll be number 2, they'll be number 3. And I think that's a strength, not a weakness for them. The fact that they're not in everybody's face, that they're not the number 1, they're not capturing every single person. They're very specific on who they want to market to. And that, I think, if you fall into that demographic, makes the experience so much better.
Yeah.
And if you do want to learn more about Celebrity, like I said, I've been studying really hard on it. So I'd be, you know, send me some messages, ask me some questions. The experience that they provide on board is relaxed luxury. That's their term that they coin. And I think it describes their itineraries perfectly, not only in the destinations that they go to, but the quality of their food. They've got phenomenal Michelin star chefs that have curated their menu. They've got a very elegant, very contemporary experience. So when you walk onto this, it's like, it feels like you've walked into the Ritz-Carlton, but you're on a boat. It's got this very classy, but not pretentious and not overstated.
Not stuffy.
And their rooms, their staterooms are very well appointed. It's a great cruise line. It's a great product. So I was really excited to share that. But Backroads and Celebrity. So those are, you know, 2 really, really great ways to see Croatia. Like I said, you know, you saw a land tour option that's just biking and walking. We saw a cruise option as well. And we know, as we've already talked, you can definitely combine the 2 of them. You can make a cruise and a cruise tour. That's the term, right? Out of it all. And I'm so excited that we finally have this out there. We're finally talking about Croatia. And I'm excited to hopefully send some clients out there this year. I think that'll be a great trip and prove to everybody that we know our stuff when we're talking about the number 1 travel destination.
Yeah, absolutely. No, all of that is it's so on point. And one of the reasons why I love Celebrity and Backroads, 2 things. The first thing I want to say is that I've been very, very selective about the vendors that we partner with, because you guys kind of tease me on the team sometimes for being very like mama bear and like protective of you, but it goes for our clients too. Like, I will not work with people with vendors that are less than quality. And both of those are really, really great vendors that have proven themselves to us and to our clients. So I would feel, as the owner and you as an advisor, like we would both feel really good sending people and putting them in the hands of Celebrity Cruises, putting them in the hands of the Backroads tour guides. Absolutely. Like, they're just wonderful, wonderful vendors to work with. And the other thing is that, you know, we, like you were saying, Celebrity doesn't necessarily target everybody. I know that as a company, and maybe this is kind of crazy for me to say as a business owner, I know that we're not everybody's cup of tea. I know that we're not for everybody. But those people that we are here for, we're gonna do 100%. Like that's, we focus on that, on what you need and what is gonna make your trip unique and special and custom for you. That's what we do. We do that custom to make sure that you are getting immersed in that. If you don't like Backroads or Celebrity, let us know. We will literally make everything exactly tailored to you, exactly what you want. Everything. We can do it all. So that's just like a super cool thing. I had 2 more notes while you were talking that I was like, oh my gosh, we have to share this. 1, Croatia is a very, very safe country. So I get that question a lot about traveling. Is it the safest country in the world? No, probably not. But as long as you've, you know, compared to most places, it's going to be safer than most. It's actually a very safe, quaint country. Obviously,
let's be honest, it's probably safer than a trip to New York City.
Yes, absolutely,
You know?
absolutely. And I think that that's a big draw, especially if you're talking about, like we were saying, multi-gen is a huge thing. If you're going with your parents that are elderly or with the young children, you kind of just get that awareness, right? Like you want to make sure that everybody's going to be safe. And that's a nice thing about Croatia is that they are a relatively safe country. And then we're looking through those pictures. This might be a spoiler alert for one of our posts later in the week, but Split, Croatia, is actually consistently voted the most beautiful city in the world. And I mean,
Amazing.
Dubrovnik is gorgeous, but like Split, oh my gosh, wait until you guys see. Wait until you see some of the posts that are coming out because it's out of this world. It's so, so gorgeous. It's a beautiful place. And I cannot wait to just like go and be like, just be in Croatia.
I know.
So, okay. Do we have any other notes? Anything else we wanted to mention about Croatia?
I think we covered a lot. I think we definitely, were able to showcase very clearly why Croatia is a #1 destination to visit for the year. And the fact that you can do it in so many different ways that, if you want to make a land tour, if you want to do it by cruise, if you want to, however you want to do it, Croatia is in such a strong spot to take new travelers. They want tourists. They want you to come visit. So they've made it really, really easy to plan a trip, to book a trip, and to make it, like you said, a safe, very enjoyable, very well-rounded family vacation, or make it, a romantic getaway. Like you can do anything you want out there. It's going to be such a fun spot to talk about for the rest of the year.
Absolutely. It's going to be awesome. So if anybody's watching either live or watching a replay later, because this goes out on the main Signpost Destinations YouTube channel, as well as the Facebook page, they will live there forever. If you guys are watching the replay, let us know if you guys have any questions. The other thing is that we have put together this really great guide. Let me show you. This is a map of Croatia, guys. So I was just talking about Split, which is a little bit further up here, kind of in the middle of the coast. Dubrovnik is way down here to the south, neighboring Montenegro. And then you've got Zadar. That's another very popular cruise port. Rijeka up here, this is kind of like the wine region. And then you got Zagreb, which is the capital of Croatia. That's one of the major airports into the city. So just a little idea for you guys. This is Italy here across the sea. This is the Dalmatian Islands. You guys have probably heard of that. Adriatic. So Italy is just across the way there. So if you guys have any questions or would like more information about Croatia, either Hunter or myself, or really anybody on the team that you're following, we can certainly get you guys our guide to Croatia. There's a packing list, tips and tricks, and that map, all sorts of cool things, sample itineraries. We would be more than happy to send that over to you if you'd like to know. Obviously, let us know. We always do complimentary vacation consultations if you guys just want to chat with one of us. Always no pressure. I think we're lots of fun to talk to. I think our consultations are fun. It's lots of fun. So we're always here for that. Let me share with you guys too, since Hunter might be newer for some of you. Here's Hunter's contact information if you guys would like. There's his first and last name, Hunter Kripe, his phone number, his email, and then he's on both Instagram and Facebook at Hunter Kripe SD. I will leave this up for one more moment. You can also scan this QR code and it'll take you right over to the link to schedule a consultation directly with Hunter. It'll take you to all the social medias. It'll give you his email access, things like that. So I'll make sure you guys have this also on our on the main Signpost Destinations page too. So let me know, let Hunter know if you have any questions. Let's talk about what's coming up. Hunter, what are we doing next? So Croatia will be the next 2 weeks between now and our next live. Are you on the next live with me too on the 8th? I don't remember if it's you. I don't know who's joining us that day. I'll have to go back and look. We'll let you guys know. But the 8th,
we'll find out. It's a surprise.
It'll be a surprise. It's a surprise for everybody. The 8th, we're talking, which is in 2 weeks, we're talking about what it's like to travel as a group, which, Hunter, we kind of have already talked about that a little bit, like multi-gen groups and things like that. Yeah. So that'll be interesting. We're talking about Croatia until then. And then on the 8th, we'll start talking about group travel. And then we've got some really big stuff coming out the rest of February, but I'm not quite ready to announce that yet.
It's
So
gonna be exciting. We've
it's,
got so much coming. I
yeah.
mean, the amount of what content, social media content you said that you scheduled out for the next couple of weeks is
Yeah.
staggering. So there's going to be tons of information, tons of content. And that's just coming from Emily. That's just on the
I
main
know,
page,
just
not
me.
including the rest of us. One of our
Right.
other advisors we just were met with the other night, Jessica, who said she has scheduled out so much of her content that Facebook no longer lets her schedule as far
Yeah.
because she has maxed out the dates that she can schedule. So
Yeah,
we have got
right.
tons of great information, tons of great
Right.
offers, promotions, and things that you most likely wouldn't have seen. You know, as a travel
Right.
advisor, as a travel agency, there are so many strengths that we provide for our clients, for our travelers, that I think they are just unaware of. I think a travel agency is a very different beast nowadays than it was back in kind of the days of old, when people think of travel agents as just sitting in an office somewhere booking a flight to Nassau for you to go on a
Yeah.
you know, it's
Right.
not that anymore. We're hands-on, we're
Mhm.
engaged, and we are. I don't think there's a single person on this team that is planning a trip that they wouldn't personally go on themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we're all
absolutely.
dedicated that, like, we're not just in it to check the boxes and be like, great, you want to have a really basic, all-inclusive Bahamas vacation, here you go. You know, it's like, we're going to send you, if that's what you want a super straight run-of-the-mill kind of
Yeah.
Bahamas experience, that's great, but we're going to send you to the all-inclusive that we're going to go to the ones that
Right.
we have been to the ones that
Right.
we've sent people to. And when you want to go to some places like the Dominican Republic and you find some really, really terrible vendors that we don't want to work with,
Right.
we won't sell them to you. So that's a great thing
Right.
about, you know, working with a travel agent, working with a travel advisor, is that you have a professional that is vetting this for you.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, we're going through and we're reading reviews, we're reading what people say, but as a general consumer, you're mostly looking at TripAdvisor, you're looking at Google, maybe Yelp, but we use those resources all the time. Absolutely. I look at Google reviews when I'm looking for vendors, but we also
Mhm.
have the access on the back end. We can talk
Right.
to other agencies, we can talk to other advisors who have sold their product. And as we've experienced, the two of us, you know, we have also had products that we've turned around and gone to our colleagues and gone to our
Mhm.
friends and said, hey, don't sell this product to your clients, don't book
Yep.
this product. So there is a very quantifiable and substantial benefit to kind of doing these
Mhm.
trips with a travel agency, with an advisor. And whether or not that's us and our team, by all means, we'd love to have you. But, you know, find your travel advisor, find your
Right.
agency, and work with them the best you can. And we
Right.
would love to hopefully be the people that you choose.
Yeah, good. I've been trying to coin a new term, but I don't know if how well it's going to stick. I'm going to keep working on it though. That we are a new school agency. We're new school. We do
Yeah.
things very, very differently. Even people that have worked with advisors before, I get on the phone with them and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that travel advisors could do that. Like I didn't
Yeah.
even realize that was a thing. So yeah, we're new school. We, even us here, we still do things differently than some of our other, other agencies out there. Not that they're doing anything wrong. It's just that's how we like to do things. We
Yeah.
want to make sure that we're helping out our people. Our people
Absolutely.
for
And
sure.
it
So
is fun to be able to provide that service for others and to kind of see that benefit. I had that with one of my previous clients who didn't really see much value in a travel advisor other than the fact that I knew more about the destination that she did. And so therefore I helped her plan it. But then after some cancellations and after some personal life events, and I had to jump in and I had to help her process these cancellations and kind of fight
right.
with the airlines. And she said that the value of just having a professional bat for you in your corner,
Right.
that alone is what she was like, oh my gosh, this is
Right.
amazing. This is great. The fact that I have to deal with this really stressful cancellation. Who wants to cancel their flights? Who wants to cancel their vacation?
Nobody.
Nobody. And it's a hassle. And then
We
you've got to
do,
go
but that's
through,
different.
exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to go through all these, you got to jump through all those hoops. So let us do it for you,
Right.
because we honestly, that a travel advisor can process a cancellation and get it turned around faster than any other customer
Absolutely.
can.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
there are so many benefits, so much fun.
Yeah.
So that's our soapbox of why you should work
Yep.
with us at Signpost
It's true.
Destinations.
It's true. So good. Well, Hunter, thank you so much for joining me today. It was fun. I'm glad I got to introduce you out to the Signpost
Absolutely.
Destination world.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I know you'll be back. I know you've got a few more coming up soon, so that'll be fun.
Yes, I think now that you mentioned group travel, I think I am.
You are on that one.
Maybe I love group travel. I've been working in the group travel industry for actually a lot longer than I've been working for Signpost.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
it's a beast. It's a
yeah.
beast. But that's why it's fun to talk about, because there's so many
Right.
moving parts. And so
As a company, we've been doing a ton of group travel too. So it'll
we
be a
have
great conversation in 2
we've got
weeks for sure.
plenty of great things to come,
Yeah.
and maybe some slightly exciting horror stories about
Hmm.
it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because that's why we all
Awesome.
love travel, right? We all love the happy ending stories, but sometimes you
Right.
want to hear a little bit of dirt about something that went crazy.
True. Good. All right. Well, thank you, Hunter. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure you're following us over on all of our social channels. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.